Jarvis, and once again I want to welcome you to Listen. Still going through a lot of chaos in our nation, all over for a time it was just the world. We can get on the internet, turn on our 24/7 news cycles on cable and just look at all the craziness all over the world. But guess what? That craziness has been in our country for quite some time. It looks like it's here to stay a little bit longer, okay? And I think the length of time it stays is dependent on us. And so we're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk, what do you think about prejudice? I was considering the word prejudice. You know, we use that word a lot. You know, I was a boy in the 60s, a young man, teenager, and a young man in the 70s, and a military man in the late 70s. And so we've used the word prejudice a lot. That person's prejudiced, that person's prejudiced. But I don't think prejudice is really the right word. And I'm beginning to think, I don't know if it was then, and I certainly don't believe it's the right word now. See, prejudice, as we break down that word, is prejudging. It's believing that all black people are this or all black people are that, you know, if we're talking about black folks and all. But nobody really believes that now. See? It's more like an evil or a wickedness or a choice to be harsh. It's no longer, it's not an innocent prejudice is what I'm saying. And prejudice can be innocent. It's just not giving enough thought about an individual and just assuming, oh well, just classifying them all as this. And for so long, black people, and it used to really irritate me, black people tried so hard just to prove that they weren't like that. Don't think I'm like that. I'm trying to prove myself that I'm not like that. You know, I don't want you to be prejudiced. I want you to judge me for who I am. Well, guess what? They always have. They always knew you're a human being. As if they mistreated you. Okay? And that's a real reality now. Because they might have been able to hang on that, you know, here and there over the years, but you know, black people have just become too good at too many things. We had 8 years of President Obama, an intellectual giant who dwarfed the intellect of everybody who came against him, whether it's from the Democratic rivals or all of his Republican rivals. They had no clue on how to deal with this man because he was intellectually far beyond any of them. He was a good man. He was a smooth man. He was a calm man. He was a well-thought, well-spoken man and a moral man. These folks, they were not. Okay? And so the entire world has seen this, and everybody in this nation has seen this. That's why they went so crazy about him, especially when he won the second time, because it took away from him that last vestige, that last imaginary idea of superiority when this man became president of the United States, and then for a second time, 8 years. So there's no prejudice anymore. There's no thinking black people are this or black people are that. They had 8 years every day to look at this man. They know better. It's ethnic persecution. It's not prejudice. Ethnic persecution is just desiring to be a certain way to a certain people because they are not like you. That's ethnic persecution. And it doesn't have to be physical. It can simply be verbal. It can simply be nonverbal. It could be anything. It's just treating you in a negative way because of who you are. It's no longer prejudice. We need to quit using that word. Put that word on the shelf. Prejudice is a word that denotes ignorance. Ignorance of who an individual actually is. That is no longer an issue because they know. Too many black folks have been in too many positions of power, whether it's Barack Obama, whether it's Colin Powell, whether it's Condoleezza Rice, too many of them. Even Ben Carson. I mean, whatever the politics, however aggravating they might be, the reality is there is intellect there and they know it. So it's not prejudice anymore. It's simply ethnic persecution. And so we need to handle that. We need to make sure that we are okay. Because nobody else is going to do it. We need to quit allowing folks to push our buttons. Because pushing your buttons doesn't mean a thing. Saying something about you, knowing how you're going to respond, really doesn't mean a thing. Most of the people that are perpetrating these ills verbally against black folks are not really that bright. I mean, we can look at the TV guys, whether it's like Tucker or whatever the guy's name. And a lot of these guys, they're just journalists. Remember in school, the journalism club? Well, these are just these guys grown up, okay? So they're not that bright, okay? Don't let them push your buttons. Many of you are way brighter than they are, but you let them push your buttons, and you can't get anywhere. Like that cat, chasing that little red dot all over the wall. He's going to jump over here. He's going to jump over there, jump over here. No, stop chasing that dot. Stop chasing the dot. We just need to take care of our own business. And see, this is the issue that black people have today, is where it's a lot easier to demand that somebody act different to me than to me to take on the responsibility and change. And it's difficult, and I put this in my book, to be black in America and not die, is that you have generations and generations born into a particular mindset, into a family with a mindset, the next family a mindset, next family, hundreds of years of that, believing how they have been defined. Now we're smart enough to recognize that this guy, his prejudice, his ignorance is just that. I am not what he has defined me to be. But the biggest culprit in the lives and the minds of black folks are how we have allowed our own environments to define who we are. I mean, this whole thing about being cool. I mean, I'm cool. No, I am. I was. I still am, probably. But see, it's that whole thing. What is this about being cool? Even in my mind right now as I'm speaking this. We have bought into this definition of who we are or who we're supposed to be. And the reality is nobody is born cool. I think I was. Now, nobody is born cool. So if you consider, then it's a particular perception that you have invited in intentionally and then projected it out for other people to see. Okay? So it's a false image. And so then we have to begin to try to determine how many false images have we bought into that are not helpful, that are not healthy for us. I've seen homeless people on the street. Not if they're homeless, but very, very poor. Brothers, and just been all cool and everything. It's an image. It's a projection. And as long as you have that image, have that projection up, there's not much work you can do behind the mask, okay? So I'm just suggesting is that a lot of the definitions that we have appropriated even for ourselves have not been correct and have been detrimental to our well-being. And so we have to fight that. We have to begin working on ourselves, because I'm telling you this, that the people that are benefiting from a particular system that is oppressive to you but beneficial to them, they have no incentive to change. Why should they? You kill a black man with your knee on his neck, the authorities with weapons who are employed and sworn to protect the citizenry of the United States. That man is choking out an unarmed American black citizen to death, who is totally at his mercy and begging for his life. I mean, that's what you got. That's what we're dealing with. Why would they change? Oh no, Blue Lives Matter. Oh, he was a criminal. Okay, just totally chucking our whole Constitution out the window. Oh, he was a criminal. Justifying that type of evil. It's not going to happen. They're not going to change. Oh, it would have been changed by now. We have to stop. I'm a black man, so I'm going to say this. We have to stop looking for handouts. And when I'm talking about handouts, I'm not talking about welfare. I'm not talking about free money, free this, free housing. That's not the handout I'm talking about. The handout is expecting them to change. Give me what I deserve. Give me my freedom. Give me my equality. Give me proper treatment. Give me mercy. Give me justice. We see that that's not happening. That's the handout we're looking for. What I'm suggesting to you, if it's your freedom, if it's your right, if it's your liberty, if it's your fair treatment, you must take what is yours, or you're not going to get it. That's a handout. They'll rather give you welfare than give you equality. They'll rather give you free housing than give you a free footing on equal level ground to get your own. They'll rather give you those handouts than give you equality, than give you the right to demand, stop killing us. For real. You got to take it. And so how do you take it? We have to clean up our act. And I'm not saying it for any other reason except we're not going to be able to take what is ours if we're not okay. Come on now. I know about weed. I mean, I haven't known about weed for like 30 years, but I know. I know about alcohol. I haven't known about alcohol for like 30 years, but I know. There are certain habits, certain things that we do that remove the drive. Oh, it's cool. Everything is cool. That remove the motivation. That keep us in the place that we're in, placated in the lives that have been dictated to us. Come on down. We have to get it together. We have to get in shape. We have to be healthy. We have to be educated. We have to be outside of the justice system. And we have to be training our kids to be the same way. Now, so we're talking about the weed or the alcohol. So how are you going to get educated? How are you going to clean up your act? So we look at there's 24 hours in a day almost. So you might spend 8 hours asleep. You might spend 9 or 10 hours at work. Come on now. Right? So right now that's 18 hours of your day. So you're going to spend some time eating. You're going to spend some time maybe watching TV, dealing with your family. What about your education? Where's that coming in? See, you get that buzz in there, man. That's going to take 5 hours out of your day. 3 at the least, whether it's alcohol. First, you're going to, in the process of getting that buzz, whether it's weed or whether it's alcohol or whatever it is. Then you got the time that you're going to be high. And then you got the time when you're coming down, you're going to crash out. So you've just taken 3, 4, or 5 hours in addition to your 8 hours of sleep, your 10 hours of work, whatever family time and food you need. You're not progressing. You've just stayed in one position that whole day, gone to bed, awakened, and did it again. Your whole life, it's not going to progress. That's going to be no progression, okay? So it is imperative that we not get that buzz of any type until this war is over. It is imperative that we get healthy until this war is over. It is imperative that we get educated. I'm telling you, if we're high, if we're drunk, if we're not healthy, if we're not getting enough rest, we're not going to be getting any further education either. Come on now, there's no more going out Friday nights. That stuff is over. We are at war. Picture me and you in a foxhole fighting an enemy. And just me and you, when we're fighting, I happen to look over and you're gone. Why? Because it's Friday night. I got to go out. Right? Really? The war isn't over. That's why 155 years since Emancipation Proclamation, we're still in this mess. It isn't white folks' fault. They're going to do what most people do when they're in a situation that benefits them. Enjoy the benefits. What are we doing to take what is ours? Alcohol, drugs, committing crimes, simply satisfied in whatever position we're in, being a poor example to our children, not being there for our children, running around on our family, not even giving a particular correct structure of life. I'm telling you, it's just we are our own worst enemy. And until we get it together, it's never going to be together. And we need to start. I remember this preacher said once that we need to start where we are to get where we're going. We need to take care of our business. And so it's not going to, this has been our fault. We have not demanded it. We had people in the 60s that were doing the best that they could, what they could, sacrifice themselves, sacrifice their luxury, sacrifice their happiness so we could have a better way. We had people in the 70s in their own way sacrificing as well. We have dropped the ball. Man, there's a conversation on Facebook right now. Should we spank our kids or should we not spank our kids? What has that got to do with the mess that black folks are in today? It isn't about spanking our kids. It's about waking up and doing what we need to do so our situation will be well in this nation. That's it. Man, I look at the Tuskegee Airmen. I say this about every other program, but they are my heroes. They're heroes because they were in a situation of a segregated military. They were in a situation where they had skills, but they weren't allowed to function in those skills. They needed more pilots, more fighter pilots to protect the bombers. So they started a little experiment allowing these black folks to fly. Now, we already know how expertise that we can be in whatever vocation we put our mind to do. Well, these guys put their minds to it. They weren't even allowed to fly for so long, but they kept practicing. They kept practicing. They got better. They got better. They got better. Finally, when their opportunity came, they didn't have to, now let's do it. Now let's get it together. Now let's get, they were already better because they had been working on it. When you work on it and perfect yourself, the opportunity will present itself. And when the opportunity presents itself, you'll be able to walk in strong and handle your business. We are not there. We are not there. It's almost hopeless for us because we don't have what it takes, it seems, to become what we need to become. And that might be negative, and folks might not be too thrilled that I made this statement, but ask yourself what habits that you have that are destructive, that are not good, that are not family building, that are not education, that are not health, that are not positive, putting money away, saving money, and all that. If it's what habits do you have that you're not willing to give up? And if you can name a habit you're not willing to give up for the greater good, then it is hopeless. It is hopeless for you. And what I'm suggesting for the masses, as we notice in our society, this isn't all black people are not able to be successful. But I'm saying black people as a whole, we need to move up. We need to be on a place of equality in this nation. And if you have placed yourself in a sub-citizen level, if you're smoking that weed, if you're getting alcohol deadening your brain, if you're not exercising, if you're not eating right, if you're not keeping yourself healthy, if you're not educating yourself every day in one form or fashion or another, then you've taken yourself out of the mix. You've removed yourself from the competition. You're not even in the running to be well as a people. And that's where we need to be, equality. And see, equality to me doesn't mean that you have to treat me better than somebody else. Just don't treat me any worse. But you can't demand that if you are not well in and of yourself. Now what I'm telling you, for me personally, I keep my nose clean in more ways than one. I work hard. I try to stay above the rest. You don't have to be the best. I mean, you don't have to be great. You just have to be better than most folks, okay? That's all I'm saying. The education, the same. Man, that right there, the education, will even if it doesn't open a door, it opens this door. It opens your mind to recognize there's more that I can do. There's more that we can do. It'll give you ideas and thoughts, change your worldview. Walk into a crowd of people who don't like you, and it doesn't matter, because in every societal measurable metric, you're better than they are. But if you're allowing yourself to be handcuffed, if you're allowing yourself to walk around and be high and to be drunk, if you're playing around on your wife or your husband or hanging out in the clubs all night, if you're eating anything you want to and you got diabetes, you're unhealthy and you're not trying to get any better. If your education level is so low and when you're on the internet, you're simply on Facebook. If you're not studying and learning something, you're just taking yourself out of the mix. And this isn't like a condemning program. This is my urban commentary. This is saying that we could fix this thing, man. I'm telling you, when I walk, now look, I have weapons. I have an AR, I have Mossberg, Glock. To be honest with you, the reason I have so many bullets and shells is because I love walking into the gun shop. Because there are people in there that are watching me. And I ignore them without any negativity on my face, with a peacefulness about me, because I can afford them. I could walk into the gun shop and buy anything that I want. And I do. You should have seen him when I bought that AR. And I was walking out with it in that big old case. When you come to a place where you are well, they no longer bother you. It doesn't matter if somebody is looking at you funny. It doesn't matter if someone wants to make a snide remark about you. I have an MBA. I have an ability to buy guns. I have a nice house, live in a nice neighborhood. I have a good job. My daughter's in a great school. When you are well, what folks think about you matters less. And so we simply need to get ourselves together. I remember talking to this guy. He was an almost homeless guy. He was living here, living there with different folks and all. And he knew I was a minister. And one day he walked up to me and he said, "Hey Jarvis, give me a word." And I was in a hurry. I was kind of busy that day. And I said, "Well, just pray every day." And he checked me. He said, no. He said, "I need a word. He knew I was just blowing him off. He said, "I need a real word right now." I felt kind of bad. I stopped. I said, "Okay." I thought for a minute. I said, "Every day, do something good for yourself. Every day." So you might want to start tomorrow, cut your toenails. The next day, cut your fingernails. Don't overdo it. Just one thing each day. And you're going to come to a point where eventually you're going to be spending time trying to figure out what you can do for yourself. What I'm suggesting is that's what you need to do. That's what we all need to do. Okay, well now I need to start eating right. Okay, so maybe you've gone through all this and you're eating right. Okay, maybe I need to add an apple to my eating right, to my diet. Or maybe I need to take the soda off. Or maybe I need to add an extra exercise to my diet. I remember I was a mailman about 5 years ago in Dayton. And I had this route that I was using as my exercise. It was like around Dunbar High School. That was my area for like 15 or more years. And so it was my exercise. I was walking fast. Any of you that might have seen me back in those days, you would see me. I was walking fast all day. And I was used to that route because that was my track. That was my exercise. And then they had an inspection team come in and change the routes around. They took some of my route and gave me like some hills, like I was doing where Luella is and Sage. Some of you guys from Dayton know what I'm talking about. They added those to my route. It was tougher. So how did I respond? My response, honest to goodness, was this is great because my previous route was getting too easy. I needed those hills. I needed those hills to add to my workout. That's what I'm saying is that's what we need to do. We need not grow complacent where we're at. We should always be improving. We should always be trying to improve ourselves. So every day, always try to find something better that you can do for yourself. Years ago I shared the story so many when Obama became president. I was like, man, that's something that shouldn't have been done. Couldn't have been done. So I'm going to do something I thought I couldn't have ever done. And I went back to school. 10 years later, earned my MBA. And so at that time I said, well, I was going to go to school, plus I was going to start learning a language. I started to learn Arabic. And I worked on that for a while. I kind of gave it up. But, I still been studying this, studying that. And recently I decided to pick that Arabic back up again and be more diligent this time. And so I just can't simply be satisfied where I'm at. There has to be something. That's called mental exercise as well. Man, I'm going to be 62 this year in November. And I don't feel like I'm old, And I don't think that is all. I'm a little scruffy this morning and all. But this is the mental exercise. People are asking me, when you're going to retire. I could retire now. But why should I? My wife is 10 years younger than me. She's probably going to be working 10 years. I don't know. What would I be doing at home by myself? I don't see myself, because of my mind, I don't see retiring. I don't see that I'm going to stop studying, stop learning things. We have to continue to improve ourselves. That's what I'm suggesting today. As you begin to improve yourself, you'll improve yourself right out of oppression. You'll improve yourself right out of negativity. Nobody can harm you. Nobody can hurt you because you're better than them. I'm not saying as a human being, but I'm saying that most of the people that take issue with you, they don't have MBAs. They don't have great jobs. They don't live in nice neighborhoods. They don't have great health. You ever look at some of them? Come on now. Get yourself together. When someone dumber than you calls you stupid, is it really going to hurt your feelings? Come on now. And so, but I've had that talk with my daughter sometimes as well. Because, young people are they're so aware. I think they're more aware than we were when we were their age. But they're so aware. Maybe because of social media. Man, whatever I learned, something just going down with the administration or with the virus or any kind of social issue, and I go to ask my daughter, she knows about it. She'd say, I know about it. She knew about it before I did. They're very aware. So my daughter recently was talking about America, challenging, whether she even liked America or not. And I had to talk to her. I said, honey, you are America. Those people running around that are ticking you off, even if it's the leadership, that's not America. That just happens to be the leadership at the moment. You are America. And furthermore, if these people are not appreciating all American citizens, they're not patriots. Just because you call yourself a patriot, just because you're running around with a flag, that don't make you a patriot. What does the flag represent? The flag represents many things, the blood, the land, and stuff, but it represents American citizens, man. Whenever we went in the military to another nation, we had our flag. Our flag represented America. Our flag represented the American citizens. You can say, no, the red was for the blood and have all these symbols and all that. No, that flag represented everybody back home. And every nation that flies their flag, that flag represents the people in their nation. And so I'm suggesting today, if you have an individual who does not respect every American citizen, they're not a patriot. Running around calling yourself a patriot doesn't make you a patriot? Come on now. It's about the silliest thing I ever heard. Then you ask them, well, when did you serve? Well, do I have to serve to be a patriot? This person actually got mad because of the 4th of July, I didn't fly an American flag in my yard. I don't even know if my housing association would allow that. But I didn't have a flag. I've never flown an American flag. I was in the military. I was raised military. I've lived on military bases all my life growing up. My father was a lifer, 40 plus years to the government. And all my siblings, my 3 brothers, and my sister, and me, all of us military veterans. And oh, you didn't fly a flag, so you're not patriotic. Really? Come on, you don't respect George Floyd, an American citizen. You're not a patriot. Simple as that. Wow. And then there was silence. So I'm just saying, recognize who you are. You are a black person or a white person. Whatever you are, be proud of who you are. But embrace everyone else who is a citizen of your own nation. And really embrace people who are citizens of the world, man. When I was in school, in tech school, in the military in Mississippi, I went to school with Iranians. I went to school with Iraqis. Man, when I got out of the military, I went to school, started going to school. I've been friends with Africans from Kenya, Africans from the Ivory Coast, Africans from Congo, Zaire, Congo, Eritrea, Ethiopia. I mean, we are human beings, but at least as American citizens, if you want to call yourself a patriot, you have to embrace all American citizens. I'm not saying for the people that are committing crimes against you that you don't hold that against them. That's what jail is for. You put them away out of society fairly. Come on now. We just have to begin to redefine, look at our definitions, especially the definition of how we define ourselves, and just start redefining things, okay? I know I can go on and on. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to you today. We've been here long enough. But I just want to encourage you to be well. Encourage you to be free. Encourage you to have your liberty, have your freedom, have equality. But I'm going to challenge you that they'll not come unless you take what is yours. Because nobody's going to be giving up that space. They sitting in your seat. You ever try to get on the bus and see somebody sitting in the seat and try to be covering the seat next to them even though they're not using it? See, they're trying to cover up your seat. They don't want you to have your seat. So what do? Oh, well, can I please have my... No, take your seat. If it's yours, take it. That's what I'm telling you. And I'm telling you how. Perfect yourself. Perfect yourself right out of the realm. Perfect yourself right out of the purview of their influence. They can't touch you because you're better than them. You really are. Now maybe as a human being you're not, but you could better yourself in education. You can better yourself in health. You can better yourself in the justice system. You can better yourself in every way. You're better than them. And if they have ethnic persecution, you're better than them. And if they're so ignorant that they're prejudiced, which I really don't think there's too much prejudice going on anymore, I think it's all ethnic persecution, but if they're that ignorant to their prejudice, you're way better than they are. Stop letting folks who you are better than bother you by their words, okay? You can say whatever you want to say. Just don't touch me. And don't be surprised if I'm going to say something back to you. And that's what we'll close with. It's very, very interesting to me today. How you have certain folks that are so anti-political correctness until you say something to them. And then you're just mean and nasty and snarky. Come on now. I don't let anybody get away with stuff. Now, even on my Facebook posts, I try not to, like political stuff, I try not to put political stuff on there. I try not to instigate negativity, or even when I see racial stuff and I want to, you know how many times I've typed stuff in there and then deleted what I typed out? You probably have too. But now, if I'm on a friend's post, if a Facebook friend is posting something that they know is going to offend me, then they should not be surprised that I'm going to say whatever I need to say back on their post string. But I'm going to try not to put it on my page. You don't know, I got a whole bunch of those little pictures with those little cartoons where on my hard drive just waiting. I'm not posting them on mine, but I might post them on yours if you say something untoward. Okay. Anyway, I'm glad we got to end on a little jocular note, because I sure was getting heated there for a minute. This is very personal. Come on now, this has been much, much too long. The black folks are still trying to say, quit treating me wrong. You got to take it. You got to make them. And you can't make them by force. This isn't the day of the Black Panthers. You can't be out there, with your shotgun when the police pulled somebody over, because you will be dead. Come on. They're shooting brothers and sisters that don't have guns. They're choking you out, putting bullet holes in you. Now, you just have to educate yourself, get yourself in good health. You just have to progress yourself right out of their level of influence. Be up here, okay? And I'm going to tell you this. You quit smoking weed, you quit drinking, quit eating. Man, I haven't gotten any kind of buzz since I was 28 years old. Man, and back then, I just thought I was just going to be a cool old man one day. Hey, if I would have ever imagined that 32 years later, 30, almost 34 years later, that I would be sober in every way, I wouldn't have believed it. Man, I'm right, because that is the buzz, that's the drug, that's the alcohol that has got your mind so convoluted that you believe you need that to survive, that you need that to be happy. Think about the state of your mind that you have bought into believing that you cannot be content unless you have altered your brain. with a drug. That's a lie. That's the drug. That's called the addiction. See, guys, you're not shaking and sweating and all this. That's one kind of withdrawal, but the idea that you have been convinced to believe that you must have this in order to be happy in life. I've been there. I know what I'm talking about. That right there is the addiction. And it's a lie. And when you stop for an extended amount of time, you realize that. And you don't go back. Why would you? Man, I look at my life then, just the single man, going to clubs every night, in an apartment by myself. And now how life has changed. Now I have kids. Now I have a family. Now I have a wife. I have a great job. I live in a great home. I have money saved up, a 401k, money in the bank, money in my pocket. I'm sober. I'm healthy. Man, I'm going to be 62 in November. That's hard to believe. But I'm feeling good. I don't even, I have my teeth. As I was smoking like 2.5 packs of cigarettes a day. I mean, I was just destructive, self-destructive. Just put all that aside. You'll live long. You'll live healthy. You'll raise healthy. You'll be a good example to your kids. My children, I was able to live good examples before them. They didn't know Marty. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. They just knew Martin, Dad, Martin. Clean cut. Only not clean cut all the time, but didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't cuss. I tell you how my children are so amazing. I mean, I used to cuss like everybody else. And every other word, whatever, back in the day. But not in front of not with my kids, not since I've changed. I mean, it's still in there, you know. Because I remember my son, he was about 12 or 13 years old. And we were at the McDonald's drive-thru over on Linden Avenue. And the window person, you know, was just so rude for no reason. And I said, "You rude," and I used the A word, woman. My son almost had a heart attack because he had never heard me cuss before. He was like 12 or 13 years old. And because I don't, really. My daughter the same. I think she heard me use that same word when she was about 14. Her head almost exploded. Be the example of what you want your children to be. And so that you got to raise the bar. Man, when I was in college, yeah, that's an older person. My son graduated from UC the same year that I earned my associate degree the same year he earned his bachelor's degree. And so in his mind, he's better than Dad, right? But you raise the bar for your kids. You want them to be better than you. So if you want them to be well, you have to raise your own bar so that they will have something that they really, really have to work to get over. I have an MBA now. I'm not going back to formal education. But now my daughter, she has to surpass me. That's a PhD. She knows that. Doesn't have to, not a medical doctor necessarily. She has to be something that has a PhD. And she talks about it, complains about it, acts like she's not, but she knows because I raised that bar for her. And you know what I've taught her? Because she's frustrated. My daughter's in a real good school right now. And she complains sometimes. And I share with her, no, the teachers, they may not be any more gifted than teachers from other schools. But the curriculum, the bar that they're using is higher than the bar that other schools use. And that's what she needs. And she plays lacrosse. It's the same with the sports. Whatever you're doing, the bar needs to be raised beyond your capacity. So you have to struggle. You have to strive. You have to work to get over that bar. That's the way life is supposed to be. That's how you grow. That's how you grow muscles. You know, I don't lift weights, but I used to do martial art. I know about how you build certain kind of muscles by destroying the muscle cells, and then they grow back overnight. And that's how it is in life. Raise the bar. So you want your children, if your children are going to be great, that bar has to be raised high for them to climb over. But their motivation, their ability, what are they going to stand on to help them get over that bar is the bar that you have raised for yourself. That is their stepping stool. That is what they step on to reach the bar that's above their head. Hear what I'm telling you. So don't settle for less in your own life. Don't just come home and chill after work and get a buzz and not progress in life at all. Find a way to raise your own bar and then encourage your kids to stand on your shoulder so they can reach the bar that's being raised over them. How's that? That's it. Well, anyway, I hope I've given you something to think about. I want to encourage you, don't give up. Get busy. Take care of your business. We're still at war. Okay? Well, anyway, I want to thank you once again for joining me and listening. And I want to invite you to listen again. You take care.